Leslie, tell us your craziest prison story.
Oh, craziest prison story.
I know you got them.
You got them.
I was pretty laid back in prison. I mean, I heard
It
of
ain't
some
got to be
things.
about you, Leslie.
Yeah, I mean, I heard some things. You know, there was that one girl at Hobby who
Hobby shop?
Hobby in outside of Gatesville,
Oh, yeah, I forgot. You did time in Texas. Okay.
Texas
I'm
Department of
thinking
Criminal
the hobby
Justice.
shop at LCIW, but go ahead.
No, there was that one girl at Hobby who she was bulldagging and told her old lady that they were done for.
Broke up?
Old lady wasn't having it. Told her they was gonna get in the shower one more time, and unbeknownst to old girl, she had broke her razor open and slid the razor blades in between her fingers.
Who? The one that was separating?
The one that she was trying to break up with sliced her from the inside out.
What? Well, she's bringing the heat.
I don't even have a response.
There's no coming back from that.
No. So what happened to the girl? She went to the infirmary?
I mean, you got to, right? At that point, I mean, I wasn't on the unit, so
That just trickled down to you?
it trickled down.
That
to
lets
me.
you know you better not break up with your old lady.
Or just don't get a old lady.
That too.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's an excellent way to segue into the program. I'm Scott with Penitentiaries to Penthouses. On my left is your best friend in real estate. Who's your name?
For all your real estate needs.
Who?
Louisiana's favorite real estate agent.
Who?
Your best friend in real estate.
Who?
Scotty B.
All right.
All right, that's good.
And then in front of us, we got my little coda friend. If you don't know what a coda is, it's the child of a deaf adult.
Like a TV show.
Leslie Estes.
I mean, we could go with that. Yeah. That works.
Her daddy's my deaf dad. So we kind of related like on some other stuff.
It's like mother from another
right.
mother.
It's like a deaf dad from another pad. You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
that's a good one.
Leslie, tell us a little bit about your upbringing. Tell us, you don't have to go into great detail, but then kind of
The before prison situation.
before prison situation. So upbringing, and then kind of what led you into the streets, and then kind of the tale of how you got incarcerated and all that jazz, and then we'll talk about prison.
All right. I mean, you've met my mom and dad, so you know my childhood was pretty idyllic. You know, I had deaf parents, which meant that I got away with a lot. But I mean, I was straight A, honor roll, advanced placement, gifted and talented, the whole 9 yards.
Really?
Damn, flex.
A whole genius, and I didn't even realize it.
Oh yeah. And then I guess my freshman year of high school, it all kind of went to shit.
Where'd you go to high school?
Which one? I started out at McKinley, went from McKinley to East Baton Rouge Arts and Technology, and then went from there to Northeast.
Oh yeah, you was in the streets.
Yeah, I bounced around a lot. So somewhere around my freshman year, I guess, was when I was sexually assaulted, and I just kind of, whatever, rolled that off my back. And then my sophomore year of high school, I had a friend, my best friend, she was the only person that knew what had happened, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And she calls me one night, and she was super dramatic, and God rest her soul for saying this.
She's no longer with us.
Well, she called me, and she was like, if you don't come over, I'm going to kill myself. And I was like, chill out. I'll see you tomorrow. She killed herself.
You bore that responsibility.
I did and I didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, logically, you know better.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're
in your
like,
head, you're thinking about it like,
shit, man, I should have showed up. But I also know that it wouldn't have made a difference one way or the other. If that's what you're going to do, that's what you're going to do, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I think it kind of went downhill from there. I ended up meeting this guy who was a little older than me. Next thing you know, I'm pretty much living in Gardier. Him and his homeboys.
Hell yeah.
Him and his homeboy. I'm like 16, staying in Gardier. Him and his homeboys are selling weed and pills and, the whole 9 yards. And, of course, I think it's cool, right? It's cool to be in the streets at that age, right?
Yeah.
I went from this, like, very idyllic upbringing to being in the streets because I thought it was cool.
And her parents are super straight-laced. Like,
Yeah, super straight-laced. I've never
Mr.
been in
Walker.
trouble. They're not that
So
type.
you felt like you were living in a movie for the most part.
Well, here's
Fast
the thing.
life.
Here's the thing is that because I have deaf parents who weren't very familiar with that lifestyle, it was real easy to hide it, right? It was real easy to act like I wasn't doing the things I was doing.
Can't hide that now from them.
Oh, hell no. They know now. They're well aware now.
Yeah.
So I was doing all that, and that relationship did not end well. Split up with him and ended up meeting my ex-husband I think we met when I was like 17. We get married, have a kid.
At 17?
We got married when I was 18. I got pregnant at 19, had my son at 20.
Did you finish high school?
I did not. I didn't get pregnant in high school.
So you dropped out to live a dope celebrity lifestyle?
No, I dropped out because they fucked up my transcript, and they were like, "You gonna have to come back next year." The fuck I am, and I just never went back.
Yeah.
I actually ended up getting my GED because a judge here in Denham told me that if I didn't get my GED, he was gonna send me to jail. And I was
Hell
like,
yeah.
"All right, then I'll go get my GED, I guess." Ended up leaving my ex-husband. Well, we split up. It was neither one of us is innocent in that whole thing. But anyways, got divorced, and I fucking wild out. I'm in the club every weekend. I'm drinking. I'm partying because I didn't do any of that shit when I was
Where
17,
you was
18,
clubbing
19.
at?
Lava Lounge.
Okay, fire and lava were the shit back in the day.
Yeah.
Way back in the day. But that was when I was like 14, 15. You know, I'm in AAA every weekend. I'm at the Texas Club. I'm at Brightside Bar and Grill.
Penny Pitcher Night.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Getting fucked up.
You wasn't in Ampersands?
That's New Orleans, dude.
That was Hammond. I think I went there once, like one time. That's
In
too
New
far.
Orleans, yeah.
I thought that was in Hammond.
No,
No,
you're
that's
talking about
New
the Buzz. Or,
Asterisk. That's what I'm talking about. I'm thinking of Asterisk. No, I didn't really party in New Orleans like you're talking about. The handful of times that I've partied in New Orleans, it never ended well. So,
Never does.
Shout out New Orleans.
right.
NOLA.
So I'm fucking wilding out, right? I'm getting drunk 4 or 5 nights a week, working during the day for the state. I started popping Adderall.
Who you was working for in the state?
I was working for the School for the Deaf.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm working at the School for the Deaf during the day. Getting
I heard
fucked.
stories about it, but
And then you found the limitless drug.
Right. So now I'm popping Adderall, right? So I can stay up. I can drink all night, party all day, you go back to work, do what I got to do, right?
Perfect day.
Exactly.
Perfect life. There we go.
So then I end up leaving the School for the Deaf, and I started interpreting.
you were just in the dorm at the School for the Deaf?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Got it.
So then I started interpreting, and at this whole time, like, my drug addiction is escalating, right? I'm going from pills, you know, and it was a natural kind of succession, right? We started out with our little lower tabs, and then we went to Roxy's, and it was cool if you were doing Roxy's.
It's called the staircase.
Right, but I wasn't snorting heroin like them people. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't as bad. And then it just...
You eventually graduated.
Oh, yeah. I escalated big time. It was actually... I had an ex at the time. We were dating, and... Like, I was just doing H here and there. It wasn't a daily thing for me. And I remember I wasn't able to get some H one day, and he starts flipping his shit, losing it. We got to get some dope. Da-da-da-da, whatever. And we're in the car, and I put my hand on his leg, and he freaked out. We're going to find out there was a needle in his pocket. I didn't fuck with that at the time. It wasn't long before I did. I ended up pulling a gun on him one night. That relationship ended.
That was
Obviously.
your husband?
No,
Oh.
no, this is a different guy.
So you weren't needling the H is what you were saying.
Not until that point.
Okay.
Until that point. So now all of a sudden, so I started shooting up with him, but I didn't know how to, like, he would shoot me up. I didn't know how to do it myself. So we split up, and all of a sudden I'm stuck with a drug addiction and a way to do it, but I don't know how to do it.
You need your spot.
And I don't know where to get it from.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he done called this dude off of my phone. So I call homeboy, and I'm like, look, I know you don't know me. I was the one in the whip, blah, blah, blah. I need to get some shit. He's like, bet, come through. Well, then I keep going and going and going. He's like, all right, I know this ain't just for you. Like, I know you're moving it. I'm like, well, you know, that's what it is. He's like, bet, just come through, pick up what you need. I got you.
Okay.
All right, cool. So now I'm selling that. It's about the time that I learned how to cook meth.
Hell yeah.
Right.
Okay,
so,
Breaking Bad. This is getting. Here we go.
So I learned how to cook meth from a homeboy in the backwoods of Mississippi. So this is the good shit, right?
Okay.
It's not, is it bathtub or shake and bake?
Shake and bake all day long. I can shake a bottle with the best of them. You know what I mean? So I'm selling heroin.
That wasn't right.
Yeah. that-
Chill out, man. Pause.
reliving his times. So now I'm selling both. I'm doing this, that, and a third, and then I catch my charge in Baton Rouge. I hit an 18-wheeler doing 60 miles an hour on the interstate. I was knotted out completely. Boom, nail him. He's at a dead stop. I get arrested. Well, it was a whole mess. Anyways, I end up getting arrested. I don't even know what I'm being arrested for. I know they found some shit on me. I'm so fucked up at this point. I don't really know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, I spent 12 hours in Central booking at the parish. I have no recollection of that. I get back on the line, and I'm making my rack, and I hear on the TV in the day room. In local news, 25-year-old Leslie Estes was arrested this morning.
Yeah, I remember that.
Gang, gang.
And I went, oh, fuck. Thing is, though, up until then, I've been living a real double life. You know, I did my shit with the people that knew I was doing my shit, and then I hung out with people that had no idea that I was doing
Batman
my shit.
situation.
Right.
Bruce Wayne with the parents, Batman with the streets. I get it.
Right. So, actually, I got out, and a friend of mine who I used to go hang out at her house, like, and it was just bonfires, drinking. You know, they didn't live that kind of life. She comes over and she was like, "If it's any consolation, I had no idea you were doing what you were doing." And I was like, "Well, a lot of people didn't."
Gotcha.
You know. So I get out. I've been out I ended up beating my charges in East Baton Rouge. I get out, I think I was out for maybe a month when I OD'd. And I wake up to a Post-it note on my bed from my mama at the hospital that says, "I love you, don't come home." And they're gone. So I end up going to...
Miss Betha don't play around.
No, does not. Well... You know, and I understand why. You know what I'm saying? I fucked him around. I yanked him around and manipulated and lied and cheated and did the whole, you know.
Yeah.
I get it. When you're
the
done,
whole
you're
song
done.
and dance, yeah.
So I end up going to rehab, doing all that. I went to sober living in Austin, and I'm doing good for a while.
Where'd you go to rehab?
Mandeville.
Oh, at Found Blue?
No. I forget what it's called.
Oh, I got you.
I went to rehab there, and then I ended up on a bus to Austin. My sister lived in Austin. So I'm in sober living in Austin. And
Jennifer?
Yeah. Everything's doing good. I'm straight, you know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I start working at a tow yard overnight and end up meeting a guy, right? And there we go. We're down the hill again. And I end up getting put out of my sister's house, understandably so, because I'm fucked off. And I'm selling dope. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And, like, the game is so different wherever you go, right? The game in Texas is not the same in Louisiana. It's not the same in New Mexico. It's all...
Well, how's it different?
People just handle shit differently. You know what I'm saying? It's just...
Give me an example.
Like, it's like... The people that I fucked with in Louisiana, like, that whole theory of loyalty among thieves, you know what I'm saying? Texas ain't like that. They're coming for your neck no matter how, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's like, oh, okay, that's how, okay.
You're out of town.
What's up with that, Texas?
You know, it's like, oh, that's how we doing that. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I'm hooked up with this dude selling dope, and I had to go pick up some pills from another dude. And my old man at the time and this dude had already had it out. So I'm like, look, you stay here. I'm going to go get my shit. I'll be back. Right? My old man at the time was like, this is bullshit, da-da-da, this and that. I'm like, I'm just going to pick up something. Like, I'm not trying to get a gunfight going. I'm just trying to go, I got to go, you know, whatever. I'm coming through Travis County, crossing into Williamson County. I get lit up by the police. They pull me over.
Travis County, get your ass, boy.
Travis County is easier than Williamson. Williamson County is a motherfucker. So I get pulled over, get lit up. Cop pulls me over. He says, "You got a busted headlight." I'm like, "Busted headlight? What you talking about?" Right? Next thing I know, here comes backup. He's like,
ratted on it.
He goes, "I'm gonna need you to step out of the vehicle." I said, "For what?" He goes, "Well, I'm pretty sure you got drugs in the car." I said, "I'm pretty sure you're right, but I'm not gonna tell you where they at. Be careful, there's a needle in the center console." Puts me back in the cop car, I go to sleep. Backup shows up, he knocks on the window, he's like, "Ma'am, are you sleeping?" I'm like, "Sir, I've been up for about 6 months. I need a nap and a sandwich." "Yes, I'm taking a nap." Like, do what you gotta do, you know what I mean?
A nap and a sandwich, boy.
So he comes back with baggies of pills. I got like 84 Xanax, all in different. I got 17 in one bag, 10, you know, yellow, white, whatever. And he knocks on the window. He's like, "Ma'am, are these yours?" "Yes, sir." He said, "You got a prescription for these?" I said, "Absolutely." He goes, "Well, who's your doctor?" "I'm from Louisiana. I don't have that out here." He's like, "All right." They take me straight to county jail. I call my old man from Central Booking, and I'm like, "I don't know what this is, you know, blah, blah." And I never told him about the headlight. He goes, "Yeah, man, you know, if that headlight hadn't been out." I said, "What you mean if my headlight hadn't been out?" So he had disconnected my headlight when he knew I was going to pick up pills.
He set you up?
Yeah.
Oh.
Disconnected my headlight, got me pulled over, right? All right, whatever. So I'm sitting in county jail. I've got possession under a gram of meth, possession under a gram of heroin, and 84 Xanax. But they gave me a ticket for the Xanax, which threw me for a loop. Because, you know, in Louisiana, you get one Xanax, that's a felony.
Yeah.
I got 84 Xanax, and y'all giving me a ticket?
It's bigger in Texas.
All right, cool. Yeah, exactly, right? My attorney comes to see me, and we're sitting in the attorney booth, and he goes, "Did you have a prescription for that Xanax?" I said, "Yes, sir, of course I did." He goes, "Well, it's quick thinking. You got 2 felonies instead of 3. All right, cool. So Texas has what they have state jail, and then they have Texas Department of Criminal Justice.
Uh-huh.
So state jail is like, they call them baby felonies, 4th degree, stolen vehicles, possession under a gram, you know, minor charges.
Mm-hmm.
And those sentences those go from 6 months to 2 years, day for day, no parole. Once you're done, you're done. And then your first, second, and thirds go to TDCJ.
Okay.
So I've got 2 state jail felonies. He's like, look, we're going to ride it out. We'll take you to court. The judge will give you 6 months. You'll go home. All right, cool. Back and forth to court, back and forth to court, back and forth to court. 6 months rolls around. He's like, yeah, so they'll come down to 8. You can have 8 months. I'm like, whatever, fuck it. Go on. Let's get this over with. So by the time I get to actual prison, I've only got 3 weeks left on my sentence. And then I'm done. There's no parole. I don't have to wait for anything.
Because you're taking it out like in, I guess, like the local area?
I'm doing state jail, right? Because I had possession under a gram. That's what they charged me with. And so, I'm literally in prison long enough to do my intake, and then I have to go see the warden for classification. She's like, oh, well, this is your job description. I said, ma'am, I'm not trying, no disrespect, but I'm not working for you. She goes, well, don't you want your good time? Ma'am, I don't get good time. I got to max out. It don't matter if I work or not.
I'm a bad girl.
Not just that, but seg is air conditioned. By all means, if you wanna seg me. Like, go ahead.
Tell everybody what seg means, because most people
segregation. So it's lockdown basically.
Lockdown, cell blocks.
Go ahead, seg me out. Because most of the prisons in Texas aren't air conditioned. It's hot as fuck.
Oh, so you're like, I'd rather just.
It's in middle of July by the time I hit TDC. It's hot.
It's hot.
Yeah, all these bitches are just mad because it's hot. That's why it's just hot. So I'm riding my bunk, just waiting to make it out, And at one point they called me out for work, and the officer walked by and he was like, "You ready to go to work?" I was like, "I'm not going nowhere, sir. No, I'm not going to work. I'm gonna lay here and sweat. That's all I'm doing." So he comes back and he's like, "When's your release date?" I was like, "Friday." He's like, "It's not even worth the paperwork," and turned around and walked off. Cool, appreciate you. So then I get out. And I go back to Baton Rouge, and people, places, and things. Right, it's a matter of time before I'm back off in the game.
Bum, bum, oh yeah.
And I am back off in the game harder than I ever been at this point. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing everything. I'm stealing identities.
You came back seasoned. Like you went out of town. Now I'm back.
Right. So I'm boosting. I'm writing hot checks. I'm stealing credit cards. I'm doing the whole night. I'm hitting licks. Okay. And
what you was doing with all this newfound wealth?
Buying dope and selling it. I was running business with all kinds of people.
You got to reinvest in the business.
What I'm saying? Yeah, and I was doing dumb shit, but not getting caught. And that's my problem, is that I get away with it for so long. I think I'm invincible, right? So let's step it up.
Just like in the movies. Yeah.
Let's step it up. Let's see what happens now. Let's see what happens.
See how hard I can go.
Right, exactly.
And then especially if you're doing that shit and you're drugging.
Well, I got to be high to do what I'm doing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But a monkey can't sell bananas. I can't sell dope and not do dope. That's my problem. So I ended up moving to New Mexico because heroin made me think that I needed to marry a woman, all right? Which, hey, if that's what you're into, that's what you're into.
Oh, drug-induced homosexuality.
Basically, yes. That's what we're going to go with. We're going to go with that. So I pack up and I move all the way to New Mexico, right? I move to the one city in America that has no deaf people. Yeah. I don't know what happened there, right? Matter of fact, I met her in county jail the first time I was in Texas, so I should have known that there was...
I've met you before.
Yeah, that's yeah. And she was in a turtle suit when I met her. I should have known better.
Man.
I should have known better.
Damn, look.
Remind the listeners what a turtle suit is.
It's a full-on, vest from neck to...
It's for the crazies.
Yes.
Oh, that's the one that
the alleged crazies.
They make you strip down and
you get no clothes, no sheets, no blanket, no nothing. This girl had taken her mattress apart and climbed in it because it was cold, and I was like, oh...
She's creative.
You look like my next ex.
You're smart.
Yeah, exactly. Red flags everywhere, but I like the color red. So I moved to New Mexico, and it is one thing after another because she's got her own laundry list of undiagnosed mental health issues and is self-medicating with meth. And
hell yeah,
I'm getting high. She's getting high. It's bad, right?
This is like the best romantic comedy I've ever heard.
Absolutely. Well,
the only thing y'all missed was a television show.
So she's getting high, you're getting high. Things are really heating up.
Yes, things are great at this point. I fly back home to take care of a charge that I had jumped bond on, and I get a phone call from the sheriff's department. She done broke into a house. They've arrested her. It's a whole shit show, right? I get back to New Mexico, and it's like, all right, now she's gone. I got a dope habit. I'm in the middle of nowhere in a tiny town.
Was she at least like a hustler too?
No, God, no.
She was not productive.
No,
in bringing
not
the
a
goods
productive
back?
drug addict at all.
Damn, bro.
I mean, one of her charges was lighting a storage unit on fire and then sitting there and watching it with police. She was sitting, come on now.
She's a dumb criminal.
There we go. So I ended up getting a job offer in Hobbs, New Mexico, which is about 3.5 hours east, to do sign language interpreting at the school district.
Who offered you that?
One of their agencies that they're contracted with. So I told them, I'm a 2-time felon. Before I pack all my shit and I move all the way over here, I'm a 2-time felon. Y'all trying to get me working? And they're like, no, you good. You good. We got you. Huh. All right, cool. I do the fingerprint and the whole 9 yards. Well, New Mexico has what's called a PED license for anybody that works in the school district. And it's basically just a glorified background check. It has no indication of your skills whatsoever. If I'm a third-party contractor, why do I need this? I'm not a direct employee. 6 months into my position, the head of HR calls me into his office and proceeds to scream at me. You didn't tell me you were a fucking felon, this and the third. And I was like, hold up, Gary Coleman. You got to be at least this tall to talk that much shit to me.
Must have been short.
I'm going to need you to calm down. I'm banned from the school district now. Ends up being a whole ordeal. Well, now, I've got the lifestyle that interpreting has afforded me. And now I have no income. Because I'm in a very small town. There's nowhere else to interpret. It's a school or nothing.
School or nothing. There's no agencies doing medical.
No. There's the only deaf people in town are the students.
Oh, gotcha.
There's nothing. There's no other work for me. So I go back to doing what I know how to do best, right? But I'm in a town where I don't know anybody. I call homegirl I was locked up with. I'm like, look, I know you know where to get some shit. She's like, yeah, you're gonna have to go all the way to Odessa. I'm like, all right, cool. So I go to Odessa, which is an hour and a half.
Texas.
Hobbs is like on the state line. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Don't nobody want to drive an hour and a half and get high. I don't want to do that every day or every other day or every couple of days. Like, I'm not trying to do all that, right? So I find the one little young kid that I can find on the street. Look, I got a 20. Can you go get me some shit, whatever, because I'm not going to let you hustle me out of more than a 20. Of course, he doesn't have a car, and his phone only works on Wi-Fi, so he uses my phone to call people, right? So as soon as I drop him off, I call whoever he called. Look, I don't want to go through homeboy. Like, can I just come directly to you, 4 weeks later, I'm driving to Juarez. And we're moving the shit across the border from Juarez. So moving the stuff across the border from Juarez, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I get a phone call from a friend of mine in Austin. She's like,
are you saying Juarez?
Mexico.
Yeah, you said, but you put the little spell.
Bro, she's rolling her R's, dude.
I see you, la amiga.
Bro, she's rolling those things.
I'm trying to be fancy. Leave me alone, Scott.
Amiga.
So I come back to Texas, and a homegirl of mine's like, look, I need some help running some cons in Austin. Like, all right, cool. And I've always had to, anytime I ran credit cards or anything like that, like, I never involved anybody else, right? Because then I can control everything, and I know if anything's going to go south. I know all the pieces in the game. And that's where I fucked up, I was working with somebody else, and I didn't know where all the pieces came from. So the night before I get arrested, I nod out, driving down I-35 in Austin, and I ramp off the side of the interstate.
Hell yeah.
And I land in the grass in front of an Applebee's.
Nice.
In the yard. And I come to just enough to go, I should probably move my car before the cops come, right? Get my car off into a parking lot, and I sit there, and I'm like, it's 2 a.m., I might as well get high, go back to sleep. And, I had a moment where I was like, because I got out of my car the next morning, and this dude comes walking over with his dog, and he's like, oh, you live in your car too? And I'm like, fuck, I got to quit living like this. This is not.
No, I got a home. Leave me alone.
I mean, I didn't. I was living in my car, but that was none of his business at this point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Just kind of made you feel like,
yeah,
damn,
like, I got to rethink my life choices.
Other homeless people are identifying me.
Oh, finally, there's another one.
The girl that lives in the car.
Like, we're about to start having meetings. I don't know. So my co-defendant comes and picks me up. And we're going to go hit some licks, which we had hit some licks a couple days before in San Antonio. Everything was cool. We go and hit this lick at the bank. I'm in the drive-thru.
Oh, y'all were hitting banks?
Yes, we were hitting banks.
Nice.
So
we were have to be high to do that.
We're running cons on these banks, stolen checks, stolen debit cards, things like that. Cop pulls up, but he doesn't block me in. He parks over here, and he gets out the car, and he comes and he knocks on the hood of my car, and he goes, you pull over. And I looked at him, I said, and I just gunned it. I don't know, first off, don't take the police on a chase if you don't know where you're at, right? I don't know nothing about this town.
Yeah.
So my co-defendant's in the backseat, and he's like, make a right, make another right, make another right. I'm like, bitch, that's a circle. Like, they know where we're going at this point. So I make a left. I end up in a cul-de-sac.
Back in the bank.
Hell yeah.
I'm in a cul-de-sac. I whip this car around. There's 2 cops coming towards me. I'm like, fuck it, chicken. This ain't my car anyways. Gun it.
Let's go.
They jump the curb, get up back on the highway, and there's a fucking roadblock. And I'm like,
For you? Oh.
Making life decisions.
Yeah.
Do I go through?
Well, I was going to flip the car around. I was going to flip a bitch. Like, fuck it. Whatever. We're this far into it. Might as well turn around. He's like, Leslie, they're behind us. They're behind us. Just stop the car. I was like, shit. All right, fine. You know what I'm saying? So stop the car. These people are pissed. There are guns everywhere. And this cop, he's yelling at me at the board. And it's the same cop that was at the bank. And he's pissed at me. He is mad. And he's like, he's on the board. And he goes, put your hands out the fucking window. I'm like, all right. Put me on the
Chill,
window.
dude.
He goes, now, get out the car. And so I go to take my seatbelt off. And he's like, I told you to put your hands out the fucking window. And I'm like, I'm confused. I'm not really sure what you want me to do at this point.
Could you please come unbuckle me?
Yeah, like, open the door. You go help me out, you know? So he gets me out of the car. I'm walking back. He's like, backwards down the highway. I don't have any shoes on. I got a wig on from when I was at the bank.
Oh, you were disguised.
I was disguised, right?
Okay,
And
here we go.
that's my brother's favorite part of this whole story is I was wearing a wig. Anyways,
Your brother?
I call him my brother. It's
I was about
yeah.
to say, do I have a sibling? I don't know.
You might. I don't know.
Walker was a wild man.
He was back in the day.
Playboy.
And so I get on my, he says, get on your knees. I get on my knees. He handcuffs me. He snatches my wig off. I was like, we could have done it in a cop car. You didn't have to do this in front of all these
Never
people.
snatch a lady's wig off.
You know, that was kinda rude.
Disrespectful.
And so he's like, all right, get up.
Was it glue?
No, I had to change him out a lot.
When jail and weed. Jail and weed.
So he's like, get up. And I said, no, sir. He goes, what you mean you're not going to get up? I said, sir, I'm fat. I'm on my knees and I'm handcuffed. There's nothing graceful about this. Either you can help me up or I can lay my fat ass down and you can fight me in the back of that Tahoe. Either way, I'm going to jail, and that's not an extra charge. So it's really however you want to play this. He's mad as a motherfucker. Gets me in the back of the cop car and takes me to jail. He's cussing me the whole way. He's like, you tried to kill me. I said, when did I try to kill you? He's like, when you ran. I said, sir, when you told me to pull over and we made eye contact, and I said, you should have known I was gonna run. I'm not sure how I could have made that any more obvious.
Just honesty, you know what I mean?
Did you want me to roll down the window? Like, you might want to back up. Could you step to the side? Thank you. So puts me in the cop car, takes me to the county, and I spent 8 months in this county so I know all the officers, and I was Facebook friends with some of the officers once I got out. So I walk in and they're like, Estes. I'm like,
It's your girl.
yeah, I came back to see what y'all are doing on this side. You know what I'm saying? And
I had misted you.
well, and so some of those officers, like one of the officers, her and I become very good friends after my last incarceration. And so she comes in during shift change and she sees me on the front bench and she's like, what the fuck? And I was like, I don't even know why I'm here. I mean, I know why I'm here, but I don't know what I've formally been charged with. She's like, well, come on up here and I'll tell you. I was like, I'll find out later. Like, I don't really need to know now.
Were you detoxing?
Oh yeah. Every time I go to jail, I'm detoxing bad.
Yeah, I have to. Sucks.
So then
How long does detox typically last?
it just depends on how bad off you are.
Yeah. If you're on a little short spree, a couple of days, you'd be good. If you've been on one for a while,
It can
fucking
be
a month.
it can be bad. Well, and I didn't tell them that I was detoxing when I got booked in because the dope wasn't on me; it was just in the car. So I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be detoxing. I was like, I don't know.
they're not gonna do anything anyways.
Williamson County will.
Really?
Texas
What
will
do they
detox
do?
you. They'll put you on medication. They'll detox you.
Methadone?
No.
Oh.
It just
I was
takes
to
the
say
edge off.
methadone.
It just takes the edge off. It don't do nothing, fancy.
Boy, they give you Ativan or something.
I don't even remember what it
Clonidine,
was.
something like that.
Some Powerade.
Here's some water. Have fun. Put you in medical.
Livingston just throw you in a cell and let you.
That's what
seize.
East Baton Rouge does. East Baton Rouge, I was sick, but so
Try to tell the guard I'm detox. I don't give a fuck.
not my problem. Just don't die on my shift.
Yeah,
That's basically how they are.
yeah.
And so I'm in there, and I know I'm not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in Texas. So Texas, the way they do their habitual offenders or anything like that, in Louisiana, when you get your DOC number, that's your DOC number for the rest of your life.
Right.
In Texas, you get a new number every time you go to prison.
Really?
So habitual offenders are not based on your charges. It's based on how many TDC numbers you have. I've already got one under my belt. I know y'all ain't letting me go nowhere.
Yeah.
It is what it is. I might as well go ahead and get comfortable.
Like a 6th-degree black belt and getting booked.
Yeah, I might as well get comfortable. But I will give it to, like, Williamson County. Williamson County had a video phone. Like, I can't call home on the regular pay phones because my parents are
There
deaf.
was one jail that you were in that I had to help your dad call because they weren't either letting you use the laptop to do the video phone or they didn't have it.
It might have been EBR. EBR never did. Williamson County lit me all the
East
time.
Baton Rouge has video phones now.
They didn't back then.
Yeah.
But the officers were cool as fuck. They'd be like, here you go. They would just leave me. They'd come behind, like, wave at my mama, like, how you doing? I'm like, y'all, just stop, chill. I'm trying to talk to my mama, whatever. And I mean, I was cool with the officers because it's not your fault I'm here.
Yeah.
Right? Why am I gonna make your life any harder? Same with cops. If I don't give you a reason to fuck with me, you're not gonna fuck with me. That's all on me. So I'm in Williamson County. I'm like, I'm going to prison. Like, it's cool. Just go ahead and give me. My attorney comes to see me. I'm like, look, 5 or less. I'll sign right now. And he leans back and he goes, it's real nice working with a professional. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And he's like, I'm just saying, I get men that beat their wives, steal a car, get busted with 6 ounces of dope, and they want their charges dropped. He's like, you? Nah, you going to prison. You just want a good deal. I'm like, yes, can we make that happen sooner rather than later?
Yeah, let's
please.
not waste any time here.
So in the meantime of all this, I've faked a pregnancy because they put me on a top bunk. I'm too big for a top bunk. I cannot. That's too much work for me.
So if you're pregnant, they're like
bottom bunk, right?
Okay.
So there's a Mexican girl. She's on an ice hold. She's pregnant. She doesn't speak any English. I get one of my homegirls. I'm like, look, I'm gonna tell them that I need a pregnancy test. I want you to be in a cup. She's like, bet, got you.
You had to give her some zoos
She didn't care.
on the house.
just on the muscle. She's like, here you go, whatever. Do what you do with it. I'm right.
I'd have charged.
Absolutely. Like I was prepared to pay. She's like, nah, don't worry about it. And I'm like, all right, cool. So for 2 months, they think I'm pregnant. I'm laid up in a bottom bunk. I'm getting snacks, prenatals, milk. I'm living large. Until they take me to the doctor.
I had a miscarriage.
Yeah, the doctor's like, I don't think you're pregnant. I was like, what?
No, my baby.
I said, you know what, doc? I'm going to prison anyways. I want to It's cool. Don't even worry about it. I appreciate you, though. Thanks. You know what I'm saying? Get me back in the cop car. They're like, I'm like, I don't know.
I thought I was, though.
I don't know what happened.
The stick said I was.
I had to call my daddy on the video phone. I'm like, Daddy, look, if they say anything about me, praise not. He's like, what are you doing in there? I'm like, just don't
surviving,
worry about it.
Dad.
Don't worry about it, Daddy. I've been sitting in county for like a month when the feds come to visit me.
Yeah.
DEA comes in and he's like, it's these 2 officers and they're like, we seized your phone, went through it, saw you were going to Mexico, whatever. He's like, let's talk about the state of Louisiana. I said, baby, I ain't got nothing to tell you about the state of Louisiana. We ain't gonna talk about that. Now, mind you, I only got busted with 5 grams of heroin. Like, I didn't get busted with weight. It could be perceived as personal, And he's like, were you transporting drugs from the state of New Mexico to the state of Louisiana? I said, yes, sir. Pablo Escobar here was going to take the game over. All of Texas, 5 grams, all I needed. I was shutting shop down.
Gotta start small. You know what I mean?
He looks at my escorting officer. He was like, y'all can fucking take her back. I was like, oh, pleasure doing business with you too, sir. Have a nice day,
They wanted something they wasn't going to get.
They thought they were going to find something that
they thought you were gullible enough to dime on whoever you're messing with.
I ain't got nothing to tell you. I don't know who, what, where, and how. I'm not sure what happened. So yeah, I ended up getting 2 3-year sentences. I did about 6 months in county and then went to Texas Department of Criminal Justice in, I guess, January, about the time.
Huntsville?
No, so Huntsville is the men's hub. Women's hub is in Gatesville.
Oh, okay.
So I did my intake at Woodman. I was at Woodman for like 3 weeks. I got shipped to San Saba.
I don't know nothing about it. I only know Huntsville because of the Estelle unit and the deaf people.
Yeah, so, and then I was at San Saba, and then from San Saba, I went to Lockhart, which Lockhart is actually, there's 2 privately owned prisons in the state of Texas, and Lockhart's one of them.
That's where you went?
Mm-hmm. So I did most of my time at Lockhart.
So how was your, okay, let's talk about this. Did they offer you any education there?
So the irony in all that is that, I've got drug arrests as long as my arm, but I've never been offered rehab.
Really?
Never. That was never required programming for me. None of that. The only reason I got into education was because when I got to prison, somebody was like, hey, if you're a full-time student, you don't have to work. Bet.
Yeah.
I'll be a student because what I'm not doing is working for y'all. Because Texas doesn't pay you.
Nah.
At all. I'm not cleaning toilets, and I'm not getting up early enough to work in the kitchen. I don't want to. So I signed up for every class I could just so I wouldn't have to work.
So you did a bunch of self-help classes?
No, so I got into a high school diploma program, and then I was also doing...
But you already had your GED.
Oh, well, they didn't need to know that.
Okay.
And they don't check that.
She's just trying not to work.
Did you need good time?
Did I get good time? Kind of.
Yeah, okay.
I got a...
So you were like a scholastic superstar. You were a tutor?
No.
No?
No, I kept my head down, minding my business. I did the high school diploma program, and then I did the cognitive behavior changes, which is their cognitive behavior class.
Did you feel changed?
No, it's so stupid. The only reason I did that was because that can be a parole answer.
Yeah.
And I had already got a set off my first parole hearing. I'd already got a set off, so I knew I was going to have to go to my minimum. So I was like, well, I'm going to do that just in case they come back and they're like, oh, by the way, you need to do already did it. Like, you can't send me twice, you know.
It's like living in balance in Louisiana. They put these incompetent people there to teach the class, and all they do
no idea what they're talking
they
about.
have no idea, and they give you papers, and they'll like make you watch a movie from the 1970s.
So it's like they're teaching so they don't have to work, you know?
Or here, watch this video about people getting on parole in California. What is that doing for me?
That's crazy.
It doesn't make
Anyways,
sense.
so did you have some type of epiphany there, though? Did you like, Leslie, I got to do something different?
I signed up for a class called Truth Be Told. And Truth Be Told is a healing trauma program for incarcerated women. And
They probably had somebody there worth of crap teaching it, though, right?
absolutely.
An outside person?
It
It was an outside
Yes.
person? Okay.
And so basically the basis for the program is, you know, they come in and they ask you, you know, all right, what happened to you that was not of your fault that led you here? Like, what happened to you? But now what did you do that also escalated you being here, and kind of working through that. But the only reason that this program really did anything for me was because you had these facilitators that came in from the outside, right? And 9 times out of 10, those kind of classes, the facilitator, they're teaching you whatever, but they don't really know anything.
Yeah.
And you don't know them and
You
their
can't
life.
relate.
This was the opposite way. Whoever was facilitating your class had to tell you their story before you told them your story. So you do that, work through all that, and then they have, I'm going to forget what it's called, but they bring in a lot of people from the outside that don't have anything to do, you know, with the prison system or anything like that, and people share their stories, and, you know, and it's kind of like, oh shit, like, people do give a fuck. People actually do give a fuck that, you know, I am not my charge, I'm not my number, I'm not my criminal record. You know what I
I
mean?
am not who they say I am.
Exactly. You know, I'm a drug. I didn't wake up when I was 5 years old and go, you know, it sounds good being a junkie the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Like, it happened. And so I ended up getting out. I made parole in November 2019. And my original plan was to come back to Louisiana. So when I went up for parole the first time, I had filed an interstate compact, the whole 9 yards, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well,
Tell everybody what an interstate compact
interstate
is.
compact is when you make parole in one state and you can parole out to another state, right?
Okay, like a reciprocal.
It's
kind
not like a makeup compact that you carry across the state line.
No, of course not. Yeah. So and both states have to be in agreement and have to, you know, the whole 9 yards, right? And so when I got denied my first parole, what they didn't tell me was that I was going to have to refile another interstate compact when I went up for parole again.
So you got stuck.
I had no idea. So I go into reentry, which reentry is where they help you get like your driver's license or your ID card, social security card, you know, all that stuff. And I asked the dude, I'm like, I'm good with my interstate compact. He's like, yeah, you're good. No problem. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, bet. Cool. Well, my sister was picking me up from prison. And like, I'm about to walk out the door.
You like got stopped, like
30 minutes before I walk out the door, they're like, you don't have an address. You have to go to a halfway house in Austin.
Uh-oh.
What you mean? What? Who? So they make me go to ATC, which is Austin Treatment Center. ATC is a shithole. It is an absolute shithole.
City-funded program?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, when you walk in, your parole officer will tell you, every second that you're here, the likelihood of you going back to prison increases. Get out while you can.
So wait, is it like a time frame that you have to be in there? Like you have to kind of sit there for like 2 months, or
no, there's no requirement, you know. But this is
You just got to work yourself out of there.
there's a lot of that's really a place for people who don't have addresses, who don't
Homeless.
have that don't have anywhere to go after prison. Like, this is where they end up going. Right?
Okay.
So, and there's no guards. There's employees, which employees don't give a shit what's going on back there. You know what I mean? And so my sister pulls up to drop me off. If my sister doesn't, you know, that lifestyle she doesn't know anything about that lifestyle. Thank God. You know what I mean? She doesn't have anything with that. And so she pulls up and she's like, I'm going to walk you in. And I was like, no, you're not. I want you to stay in the truck. I'll see you when I see you, you know? And prior to me going to prison, like, my sister and I's relationship was very tumultuous. And it's because she was sick of my shit. Understandably so.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm in ATC and I'm like, this is like, I just went from one jail to another. Like, this is bullshit, whatever, you know. And like a day later, this girl's like, you want to use my cell phone? I'm like, call home. I'm like, yeah, I called my sister and she's freaking out. She's like, I read the reviews of this place. Like, sis, stay off the internet. Don't do that, you know. And she's like, you're coming home. You're coming to my house. which up until like I would never even thought that was an option, just because
y'all's relationship prior or beforehand?
Our relationship was getting better, but like I'm not gonna ask you to put my shit at your house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but with the house in Austin though, like that, like they're just like, hey, you're in here because you don't have anywhere else to go, and you weren't gonna ask your sister because like you're like,
I don't want to put that on her. That's not her responsibility to bear. And she's living in Houston at the time, and she still lives there. And so she's like, no, you're fucking coming home today. And she did. She called because it was a federal holiday on Monday. She called everybody named Mom. I was out of there by Tuesday on an ankle monitor, the whole 9 yards. She's like, no, fuck that. You are coming home. So I move into her house. And I'm on an ankle monitor. I'm only allowed out of the house like 6 hours a day.
I used to put aluminum foil on mine.
This ankle monitor, look, it was the biggest pain in my ass. But also, it made me sit still, right? Because that's my problem. I don't like to sit still. I like to go see what's going on, and then that's how I end up. And then I got humbled. I got humbled real quick because I don't have a car. I don't have a job. I ended up. My nephew gets me a job with him at Little Caesars. Like,
shout out Little Caesars though, bro.
Right. But for me, that was a oh how the mighty of, like, I was a sign language interpreter for the governor of Louisiana, and now I'm slinging $5 pizza, which I needed that.
Yeah, you need to be humbled. They're $6 now, but yeah.
And I needed to be told to sit down and shut the fuck up and be glad for what I got.
How long were you at Little C's?
I don't know, maybe 5-6 months. I ended up going. Decided I was going to go back to school to become a licensed esthetician because I was like, I'm not going to be able to be a sign language interpreter. Like, no, my record's too bad. Like, nobody's going to hire me.
I told you that wasn't true.
Well, but up until that point, the majority of my interpreting career had been either educational or working in Louisiana. And Louisiana's criteria for interpreters is much different than Texas.
Go ahead and give them to them raw.
I mean, you know what I'm saying.
It's rogue here.
Yeah. And so I'm like, I'm going to go back to school. And the whole time, my sister and my brother-in-law are like, whatever you need, we got you. Like, whatever you want, whatever you need, we'll make sure you got it.
As long as you're, like, going in that path.
As long as you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, we'll make sure you're good.
That's awesome.
Who's that, Steven?
Big Steven, yeah.
Thanks, Big Steve.
Yeah. And so I left Little Caesars. Now I'm working at Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah.
Dude, you're moving up.
Yeah, I'm moving up in the world, right?
I'm liking what you're saying though so far.
So I'm working at Dunkin' Donuts 5 days a week. I'm in school 3 days a week, and I'm going to get my degree. I'm busting my ass, whatever. My sister and my brother-in-law are making sure like I'm straight, whatever. And I ended up graduating from school, got my licensure, from there. Became a manager at Dunkin' Donuts, hung out there for a while. And throughout all this, I'm still working with Truth Be Told, right? Because I get out of prison, and the director at the time, Katie, calls me, and she's like, all right, how you doing?
That's the organization that was going into the prison.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so she's like, how you doing? What's going on? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, now I've got some accountability here, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, from my family, of course, but also, there's other people. And in December of 2019, Katie calls me, and she says, look, I've got somebody who's looking to make a film about 5 women who have been incarcerated and what reentry and post-incarceration looks like for them, whatever, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I'll email her. And so I email her, and we start talking, and it comes up. My father started a lot of his prison ministry based on my incarceration, right? So back when I was in East Baton Rouge Parish Prison, my dad came to visit me, and the visitation windows are like this big, right? So we're having to stand back so we can see each other sign, And there was an officer that came by, Officer No Nick, and she comes by and she's like, "Pick up the fucking phone. What you trying to record? We're not talking. That doesn't make any sense to me." So I ignored her. She comes back by and she's like, "I told you to pick up that phone." I said, "Okay." So I pick it up. I lay it out on the counter. Like, what do you want me to do with it, right? 'Cause they can't record my conversation. I'm not talking. From that point on, the warden, the assistant warden, and the lieutenant would come and supervise my visits every Wednesday.
To make sure you and...
I'm not sure what you think me and Walker are planning. Oh, do you think we're planning a prison break? Like, I mean, if you've seen my dad, no, that's not what's happening at all. And at the time, there was a deaf woman that was on my line in Parish, but she didn't sign. She was oral. And so that's what kind of started triggering the thought process in my dad's head. Well, if it's like this on this side, what's it like on that side?
Right.
And that's snowballed into what he's doing now. And so start talking to these producers about this. And so they go back to their funders, you know, whatever, and they come back and they're like, so we're going to scratch the 5 women and we're going to do you and your dad.
Oh, shit.
So my dad and I spent the better part of 3 years doing this 18-minute documentary. And we actually won an award at South by Southwest in March. We won the award for our division and the jury award. And all of this has come from Truth Be Told. You know, I've participated in fundraisers with Truth Be Told. I've facilitated classes, you know, through the mail because COVID, you know, shut everything down. But it was that one entity that was like, no,
we believe in it.
Right. We're gonna figure out what you're doing and why you're doing it, and we're gonna stop this cycle.
Yeah.
Because I mean, while I was in prison, of course, it was on my mind. Like, I gotta quit doing this shit. You know, I got kids. I got family that's about to be like, we are done.
Like done.
Understandably so.
Yeah.
Again. But I didn't know how to stop it. I didn't know what it was going to take to stop that cycle that I was in, right? Because I get out and I'm like, I can do a little too. Nobody's gonna know.
Yeah, with the yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I'll pop a little something. Ain't nobody gonna know, right? And then I think that you don't know that I'm high, and I'm over here scrubbing toilets with a toothbrush because I'm geeked out of my mind.
We don't have a cutoff switch.
No, not at all.
Because you could do it good for a couple of days, and then when that.
It's over with. Yeah. It's over with. You know what I'm saying? I'm to the moon, and I don't know what to tell you.
Well, so
what's the name of the documentary?
Breaking Silence.
Yeah,
Breaking Silence.
Tell everybody how to find it.
So right now, Breaking Silence is only in the it's in the film festival circuit right now.
Damn.
So they haven't.
It's that VIP underground.
They haven't released it for general viewing. Just
well,
yet,
when it does, we'll release it on our page. Hey, so we're almost at the end, but I want you to tell everybody what you do today for work.
So today,
trabajo.
I am a sign language interpreter for a video relay company, working from home. And so that's what I mainly do. My fiance and I, between the two of us, we have 5 children.
Got them numbers.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of them. And then my fiance is also a musician, so I spend most of my weekends, with the band and doing all that kind of stuff.
So you're like a groupie?
No.
Are you signing at their shows?
No.
Come on now.
Absolutely
That's a gig.
Absolutely
I know
not.
a guy that can do it right here.
No. I hate music interpreting.
I'm too busy cussing them all out, So I'm super busy between the kids and work and working with Truth Be Told and
And so tell everybody out there, even though you have felonies, it doesn't stop you from doing what you love, which is interpreting.
Absolutely.
Because you thought that was going to happen.
I did. I thought, and so what happened was my sister was working for the company. My sister calls me and she's like, "Look, just put in an application. See what happens."
I'm gonna tell you what. So there's one company that won't hire convicted felons, which you know who that is. And I applied 3 times because the person here was like, apply. And I'm like, I don't want to apply and get rejected again.
Yeah.
And I finally went off on one of the HR people one time. I was like, what do you think I'm going to do through the screen? Do you think I'm going to punch him? Do you think, what is it that you think that I'm going to, I don't have any theft or fraud charges or nothing like that. What am I going to do?
But the thing is, the interpreter that's stealing that information ain't the one with
ain't
felonies.
Us.
It's not the one with felonies.
I already know.
And I was super iffy about it because, like, at one point when I was in Houston, I was looking for another job, right? I was tired of working at Dunkin'. I was like, there was like a sex toy shop that was hiring. I was like, bet, cool, apply.
That's the only way you can go up.
Well, because I'm like, overnight hours, like, cool, it's going to be quiet, whatever. And they told me, no, you have a felony. Like,
what?
Can't sling dildos.
Cannot sell dicks if you've got a felony. You cannot. They will not hire you.
Shame on them.
Yeah, you can't sell pipes and dicks. They're not doing it. And I was like, what in the? Are you serious right now?
It's sad when the sex shop won't even hire.
You have strawberry flavored ass jelly over here, and I can't get a job. This is ridiculous. Right. I would have just taken like something off the shelf and left.
And it's like a franchise. Like this is a big. It wasn't just one. This is like a bigger company. And I'm like,
you want to put them on blast?
Nah.
Let's shut them down.
I'm like that. What? That doesn't even make any sense. The state of Texas
God
was like, here you go.
God has something different.
Exactly. And that's what
he
I'm.
He didn't want you working in there.
No, because that. I mean, let's be honest. That's where I probably was gonna find some dumb shit to get into, right?
Sure.
Somebody coming in to
that's
buy a
like
pipe.
the deep rabbit holes,
right?
too.
Exactly. Yeah.
Those are the weird wilders going.
Right. I mean, there's a reason why it all worked out the way it did, and I'm glad it did. And
let me ask you a question. Since we're talking about sex stores and BRS, how is it? Do you got to interpret some?
I can't tell you that.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot, dude. I'm sorry.
Well,
so in the
It's
interpretation,
interesting.
no. You don't have to say anything like
It happens.
specific. But how do you feel about when you get them calls?
I mean,
it's like sex calls.
I'm just the interpreter. I'm just the interpreter.
You don't transfer it? No.
Everybody's got access to communication.
There you go. So there are other interpreters that will talk about it.
There are.
But you're not one of those.
No.
Good. See,
she's a
I
professional.
did this for a point. Other interpreters that have never been in prison, they'll come out here and they'll break the code of ethics.
Tell everybody's business. Yeah.
Everybody. Leslie, convicted felon, trustworthy, and ethical. Hire her.
It's called street loyalty.
Good. Proud of you, dude.
Appreciate you.
That's awesome.
Well, we appreciate you coming on,
Absolutely.
and we're proud of you. Keep doing your thing. Tell Big Walk Dog I said what's up.
Ooh, if I can find him, he stays running the streets.
Yeah, her dad retired like 20 years ago,
and
has
works
not,
more than he ever has.
And every time I talk to him, he's about to retire from a new job. I'm like, no, you're not. So then he retires, and he's getting pension from like 10 different careers. Plus, he's got about 4 or 5 other hustles going on.
Oh yeah,
he's probably the most hustling deaf dude I know.
I mean, I just did a different kind of hustle. I wasn't hustling like he was hustling. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if I had, I wouldn't have gone down the path I did. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. All right. Well, we appreciate you, Leslie. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
so much.
All right.